We'll get started in a few minutes. See if folks start to log in. Hello, everybody. We'll get started in just 1 minute. Waiting to see if Randall shows up. He's the one that put our current agenda item on the list. If anyone has any opens, please add them in the open section, and we'll talk about that shortly. And you should click the button, Dave. Click it, click it, click it, click it.
Thank you for your support.
It never hurts to help.
So you keep telling me.
Someday you'll listen.
Oh, I've listened many, many times.
Oh, Randall. I think the only thing more frustrating is not having items on the agenda is somebody putting an item on the agenda and then not showing up to talk about it.
So he put the outreach stuff on there.
Randall.
He put the outreach stuff on the agenda.
Yeah. All right, folks, we'll get started. It is 3 after the hour. Welcome to the June 28th edition of the OpenSSF's Education SIG. I would like to ask, do we have anyone interested in helping us scribe today? Thank you, David.
Sure.
Awesome. Next up, do we have anyone new to the group? Is this your first time showing up? And would you like to introduce yourselves to the group? Alexander.
Hello, my name is Alexander Beaver. I'm a computing security student at RIT. Last year, I was responsible for developing our education strategy. And so I want to get more involved in the open source community. I felt that this was a good way to get involved.
Excellent. Well, welcome. We're very glad to have you. Do we have any other first timers here that wanted to say hello? All right. If anyone has any additional items they'd like to talk about, please add that to the open section of the agenda. I see that our friend Randall has arrived from sunny California. Randall put an item in the best practices working group. We had a young lady from LF Education, Cassidy. She's an instructional designer. She came and talked to us about an effort she's going through about making accelerated classes. And she's going to be making classes focused around the OpenSSF and some of the working groups. And Randall has some things he wants to talk about a little bit. So I'll turn the floor over to Randall.
And I also have something else as well. I added the stuff for the best practices and best practices. What I was going to say about best practices is that we're currently looking for an OpenSSF Express Learning course and also an Alpha Omega not learning course, Express Learning. Sorry, I just literally rolled out of bed. So
it's early.
Yeah, so Express Learning, OpenSSF, and Alpha Omega. They're also looking for a SIG store one. I think as far as that's as far as we want to go right now, and see how that goes and go from there. So as far as the micro courses / Express Learnings, that's what I have as far as updates.
Do you need any assistance from this nice body of folks here on this Zoom call?
Yes, we're gonna have to organize. I don't know if you want to do like a contributor committee or whatever, because one of the big things is about making the courses and also keeping the courses maintained.
Mm-hmm.
So
And you're looking for like an intro to the best practices working group?
intro to OpenSSF in general, it would be more of a generalized thing. I know that we talked about potentially having one for each working group. Tim's not crazy about that idea because he thinks that it'll be too difficult to maintain. And he was the one that told me he would prefer to keep it to, like, right now, an express learning, which is supposed to be like a 90-minute course tops, like something you could do in like lunchtime, and give you kind of like what you need to know.
So specifically, what's your request of this group today? Would you like us to?
Well, I just had that update. I mean, I think that we should probably talk with the best practices working group about that. I do have something else that was discussed yesterday, which is the LF is going to be starting a new effort into working with like DEF CON and Black Hat and people like that, in the terms of offering kind of different content than what we have right now on our blog. Because what we have right now on our blog is very corporate, and pretty much all of our outreach efforts are very corporate based. So few things have happened where now we can explore a different avenue of cybersecurity, which is kind of more bug bounty hunter researcher aspect. And what we're planning to do, how we're planning to engage this, is kind of create a separate blog that'll still be under LF. So I also wanted to talk about that because I don't know if that's the interest of this group, but if it is, we were looking for people that would like to contribute content and things of that nature.
And is this just blogs? Or are you guys looking at making like an education track and present at either of those conferences?
Basically right now we're just looking to like get a foothold in that space. A lot of people in that space are not exactly clear on what the LF is or does, or even what OpenSSF does and how it all affects cybersecurity. So that's one of the main reasons that we're doing it, is to kind of be able to engage with that party of people, that group of folks. I know that we've had Max in the past from Major League Hacking. I thought he might be somebody we could talk to. I think they also were talking to somebody else. But yeah, but as I said, the whole ideology is that trying to get more of a foot space in, well, there we call it the other side of cybersecurity. And in the meeting, we just felt that currently the branding and the outreach that we have is just not really oriented towards those group of people. It's all very corporate like. So that's kind of what got decided, that it would be best to create a separate brand to basically engage the other side of cybersecurity.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I see Sal wants to make a question, has a question or comment.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. So I want to I hear two kind of clear personas in what you're stating. So the one, like that other group of people, that's InfoSec, right? And I do think that we should have more of an engagement around those resources and that education, and let corporate developers understand InfoSec is on their computer. They're already facing it if they don't realize it, right? So I think that that's good and important. I think the partnerships that you're bringing up already have great resources, like just like syndicate the solution-based blogs that they're putting out there. That's a great idea. Second, I have been having conversations that I think are going to continue that align really well around like Major League Hacking and to some degree like Open UK, all of these other non-LF groups in open source that might be able to contribute to a sort of like shared project, like Chaos project as well. All of these good groups coordinating around what it looks like to have the student profile or the entering profile of like, how do you engage on your open source projects, and where is there a maintainer pathway that we can statistically see so that we can take those lessons and bring them back specifically to OSSF. My argument being there that we don't want to be doing any extra work and collecting extra data if someone already has like made a wheel, right? Just put them together and make a bike. So in this case, we might get the data. And if we do, I think what that allows us to do is really, really target that student profile, really, really be able to show, and I'm getting a little off here, but I want to be able to show not just like, here's the SIGs, but like, here's the SIGs and the style of open source project that you engage with in order to have a maintainer career, so that we can have them. We want to, I guess my final point, and I will stop taking up the time. My final point here is what I was trying to say, and my LF is getting on board, is that as we do the cybersecurity mobilization, we should be seeing an infuse of hireable developers in cybersecurity, unlike what we've seen ever before in cybersecurity. It should inherently be more diverse than anything else we've ever seen in cybersecurity, and I'm excited for those stats. That's why. I'll stop speaking.
So what I heard, Sal, is 3 personas that might benefit from this additional LF attention. So classic InfoSec, your student and your new developer persona, and then the original persona that I think Randall was originally targeting, like bug hunter, security researcher.
Also,
That
don't
sound-
forget Matrix Reject. That's also in the
A what?
Matrix Reject. You know, the whole generation of hackers that the Matrix made, because they
I
all
know.
think that like. So yeah, I'll also put that in there.
I will pick the steak dinner every time.
Another
so-
thing, let me also point this out, Crow, that this is also important. So the LF has been doing a little bit of research on our outreach and our blogs and how effective they are. And there's a common point about how the information that we put out is very informative, but we're never hands-on. So that's also one of the things that this blog is going to try to handle and try to be a little bit more community focused. Is we're going to actually try to be hands-on. A lot of it is going to come out of like the SKF group and a lot of the tools that we use that don't fit into courses. A lot of content is going to come from that, so that people can see that we are actually hands-on, that we just don't speak. And a lot of people also think that we're a huge bureaucracy. And that's also another thing that we're trying to address here, because, you know, the InfoSec community has a lot of opinions about LF. So, yeah.
Much like the open source community, the InfoSec community has a lot of opinions. Yes.
Yeah.
You and I
Many
live
of
in
which are
both.
very crazy, which kind of the same thing.
I think the Venn diagram is close to an overlapping perfect circle.
Yeah. Totally. So, yeah,
Um,
but yeah, so I just wanted to say that, because that's another thing that we're going to be starting up, taking ideas as far as how we can do this, what content would be useful. And yeah, I'm currently working with Mary and Scott over at LF Outreach, which is, I guess, the main outreach group. But yeah, and yeah, basically that was what I had to say. And yes, Saul, I do agree with everything you said. And I basically brought it to this group because that way we can all collaborate, because this kind of got dropped on my desk. It was like, you're in charge of this now. So yeah.
So
Welcome to open source.
So 2 things. First off, I would ask the group, you know, are you personally, or are you aware of people within your organizations that might be interested in contributing some of these more detailed, focused, targeted blogs to help Randall with his effort? If so, reach out to Randall in Slack, emails, and whatnot. And then secondarily, Randall, I know all the people that run another industry group called the Bug Bounty Community of Interest. So all of the vendor bug bounty programs. So if you're interested to hear how commercial vendors work with and approach security researchers, I'd be glad to make a connection. And then secondarily to that part, the woman that runs that community of interest also runs our Intel bug bounty program. And they've done a significant amount of work courting and engaging with security researchers in our Silicon space. So if you are looking for ways to specifically engage security researchers, I could arrange a call with her if you wanted to, just kind of talk about tips and tricks and kind of what they've learned and kind of engaging with the assorted researchers in our space. And I'll give you a link. They have a new piece of nonsense, Project Circuit Breaker, which has gotten a lot of accolades from the research community. The researchers have really enjoyed their approach. And again, if you're looking for courting that specific persona, I can help make some connections for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right now, I'll say that our main focus is outreach, just because we're trying to maximize what resources we currently have in play at LF. Obviously, the economy has affected everyone, so it's affected us as well. So that's why, like right now, we're really looking at like what is effective, what isn't, and the reality is that our outreach efforts are great at a corporate level, not so great at a community level or like hacker hands-on level. So yeah, but yeah, absolutely, Crow. Any help,
Yeah,
much appreciated.
I mean, I'm glad to broker an introduction. Not about setting up a bug bounty, but like specifically engaging with security researchers. So they have a very unique perspective, and there's some lessons learned, I think, that can be shared. David.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually got a lead a little while back in a meeting at MITRE, where my understanding is that the U.S. government has some of these courses like this that they might actually be willing to share as well. So don't count on those chickens before they hatch, but I am at least trying to see what I can shake out from some of these things. So anyway, so keep going. Don't assume anything will happen there, but I am trying to shake some trees when I find out there's a tree.
Awesome. Thank you, David.
So
Yeah, first off, it's not chickens. In this case, it would specifically be eagle eggs. Second, I'm trying to find, and when I find it, it'll come up I'm so bad with like, because all these Kronowski does a lot of security stuff, like threat modeling stuff. And I know that they had something.dev, and literally it was around at least 6 months ago, and it has a like red backend, and it literally is like the reward structure for doing preventative work for developers and also like helping bug bashes for Linux projects. And I know it was Linux based, and
SOS thing, David.
SOS.dev, we found it. Cool. I just wanted to highlight that. We found it.
Okay, cool. Well, any additional thoughts about either the micro course or Randall's conversation around the blogs, these kind of expert blogs? Anyone inspired to go write a blog in your spare time? All right. Well, if you are interested in any of these topics, please reach out via the Slack channel or reach out to Randall direct. We would love to continue that conversation. Does anyone have any other open issues they'd like to discuss today about the education SIG?
I just have one sort of like question comment, and it's really just a feel, because I don't know how this would work through Linux Foundation. But for my own topics, and when I try to delve around stuff, and I'm thinking of this particularly for like getting information about SIGs, I love doing like $500 of rewards on like Hacker Noon or a profile like that, and having people write blogs, and then you just rate the best blogs. I think that's a really nice way to generate community content in a way that values people's time, in a way that's cost efficient, and you know upfront what you're saying. I don't know. I think that might be something, because we're all looking at the problem that like those working groups are mostly run by maintainers, and they don't want to be doing documentation on documentation, right? So just a thought.
That is a common across all of engineering. Engineers hate documentation.
So a thought on documentation is leveraging universities and the communication and English departments for folks that are interested in becoming technical writers. Maybe providing a way for them to, because that's a common one that I get a lot, is like, I just want to be a writer, but I want to write in a tech space. Where do I get started? I'm like, come to OpenSSF. We have tons of documentation. Nobody wants to write. But I think finding a way to hit those different groups, and maybe universities or folks that are outside as writers, could be a way to overcome those lovely documentational technical debts.
Mm-hmm. And that does marry in with some of this SIG's goals of kind of getting better engagement with academia. That's an interesting point. Thank you, Yesenia. Any other thoughts or comments or topics we'd like to discuss today? Okie dokie. Well, if you have anything you want to engage with the group, we have our mailing list. We have the Slack channel. We will be meeting again in 2 weeks. So I thank you all for your time and attention and enjoy the rest of your day. I will see many of you later today again.
Last thing, before we jump off the call, Randall, where is the next best place for us to specifically follow up on a thread on like generating or bringing in content? Is it going to be on
I will.
Slack?
I'll post one on Slack as soon as I'm back on the computer, and you can, or you could DM me, or yeah, one of the two.
Sounds good. All right.
All right.
Everyone have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
See
everyone.
everybody.